Silence is not merely the absence of words, it is the presence of power. It is in silence that the unseen forces of creation move, shaping reality according to the impressions we hold within. The world is loud, filled with voices of doubt, fear, and limitation. But those who understand the nature of silence recognize it as the gateway to all that is divine. It is in the stillness of the mind that the greatest transformations take place. When you learn to withdraw from the noise of the external world and rest in the quiet confidence of the unseen, you step into the realm of creation itself. The mind is constantly reaching outward, seeking answers in conversations, opinions, and distractions, but nothing of real substance is found outside of you. Everything that appears in your life first existed within you. The words you speak, the thoughts you entertain, and the emotions you dwell upon are all shaping the reality you will encounter. Yet, the most potent state is not one of outward expression, but inward stillness. When you quiet your thoughts, when you cease to argue with appearances, when you rest in the assumption of your fulfilled desire, you activate the creative law that governs all things. The greatest miracles do not happen in moments of noise and commotion, but in the depths of silence, where the soul communes with the infinite. The one who has mastered silence has mastered creation, for they understand that speech is often an admission of doubt, an attempt to convince oneself of what should already be assumed as true. When you desire something, do not go out into the world grasping for it, trying to make it happen through force. Instead, go into silence, close your eyes, and feel it as though it is already yours. This is the language of the divine, the language of creation. God does not speak in the way the world speaks. His voice is not heard in the noise of desperate prayers or frantic pleading. It is found in the stillness, where no words are needed, where only knowing remains. Those who have learned this truth no longer waste their energy seeking outside themselves. They do not look for signs, for they understand that the greatest sign is the conviction held in silence. When you can sit in stillness, fully aware that what you seek is already yours, you have unlocked the secret that has been hidden from the restless and impatient. Silence is misunderstood by the world because it requires trust. It requires you to hold your vision without needing to explain it, defend it, or prove it to anyone. The one who speaks endlessly about their desires is the one who has not yet fully believed in them. But the one who remains silent, who walks with the quiet confidence that it is already done, is the one who will see their desires take form. Silence is the evidence of faith, the proof that one has already received what they have asked for. This is why stillness is so powerful. It is not passive. It is the most active state of creation. When you silence the mind, you make room for God to work. When you stop trying to control everything with words and actions, you step into the divine flow, where all things unfold perfectly. It is not your effort that brings things into being, but your ability to rest in the knowing that they already exist. The silence you cultivate within is the space where your desires are given life. The world will try to convince you that you must explain yourself, that you must justify your dreams, that you must fight and struggle to make things happen. But this is the great illusion. The truth is that nothing is achieved through struggle. Everything is achieved through alignment, and alignment happens in silence. The more you practice stillness, the more you will realize that reality conforms to your inner world, not the other way around. Those who understand this no longer feel the need to react to every challenge, to defend every decision, to seek validation from others. They move with quiet assurance, knowing that their silence is more powerful than any words could ever be. Everything you desire is waiting for you in the stillness. When you learn to close your mouth and open your mind, when you stop pleading and start assuming, when you replace noise with knowing, you will begin to see the evidence of divine manifestation all around you. Everything you see in the world around you is nothing more than a mirror of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you hold within. The outer world does not create your inner state. Rather, your inner state projects itself outward, shaping the reality you experience. This is why two people can walk through the same life circumstances and perceive them in completely different ways. One seeing obstacles, the other seeing opportunities. It is not the world that changes, but the mind that interprets it. The moment you accept this truth, you take full responsibility for your reality, understanding that nothing outside of you has the power to dictate your experience unless you allow it. The mind is the architect of all things, crafting the unseen patterns that later emerge in the world of form. When a person holds within them a sense of lack, struggle, or defeat, they will inevitably encounter situations that confirm these beliefs. They will see hardship where others see abundance, conflict where others see peace. This is not because the world is unkind or unfair, but because it has no choice but to reflect back what is impressed upon it. A mind that is filled with doubt and fear will encounter endless reasons to justify those feelings, while a mind that holds faith and confidence will experience a reality shaped by certainty and fulfillment. You do not need to fight against circumstances or attempt to change the world through external effort alone. This is the mistake so many make. They seek to fix problems outside of themselves without addressing the root cause within. If you are unhappy with what you see, if you find yourself surrounded by struggle, then the answer is not to wage war against the conditions. The answer is to shift the state of your being. When you change your inner world, the outer world has no choice but to follow. The law is exact and unfailing, as within, so without. Everything that exists in your life today, whether desirable or undesirable, is a reflection of past thoughts and feelings that have taken form. Every conversation, every opportunity, every closed door, every open one. It is all evidence of what has been nurtured within. The world is not separate from you. It is the result of you. You cannot receive what you have not already accepted internally. If you desire love but hold on to feelings of unworthiness, love cannot reach you. If you desire success but carry the belief that you are not capable, success will remain just out of reach. The outer world will always conform to the image you hold of yourself, whether that image is empowering or limiting. Many try to change their lives by taking action in the physical world without first changing their inner convictions. They chase relationships, wealth, recognition, hoping that external achievements will bring them the peace and fulfillment they lack within. But the moment they attain these things, they often find that the emptiness remains. This is because reality is not transformed through force. It is transformed through alignment. If you wish to experience joy, you must first cultivate joy internally. If you wish to be valued, you must first see yourself as valuable. The world does not create your self-image. Your self-image creates the world you experience. When you begin to take control of your inner world, you will notice that the outer world begins to shift effortlessly. Situations that once seemed unchangeable will rearrange themselves. People will respond to you differently. Opportunities will appear where before there were none. It will seem as though life itself has changed, but in reality, it is only responding to the new energy you carry. Nothing outside of you needs to change for your life to improve. Only the way you see yourself and the assumptions you hold about the world. The moment your inner state shifts, reality must follow. This is why true power does not come from controlling circumstances, but from mastering the self. When you train your mind to dwell on what you desire rather than what you fear, when you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled rather than focusing on its absence, you step into the creative role that has always been yours. The outer world is not a force that acts upon you. It is an obedient servant, reflecting back exactly what you believe to be true. There is no exception to this law. It is as consistent as gravity, as reliable as the rising sun. When you fully grasp this, you will no longer look to the world for validation or answers. Instead, you will turn inward, knowing that the true source of all change lies within. The mind is the starting point of all creation. Every great shift in history, every invention, every revolution, every breakthrough, it all began first as an idea, a vision, a belief held firm despite the evidence of the senses. Those who understand this principle no longer react to life, they create it. They no longer wait for circumstances to change. They embody the change and allow reality to conform to them. They move with quiet certainty, knowing that the outer world is nothing more than a canvas, waiting to reflect the masterpiece they hold within. Faith is not proven through words or frantic action, but through stillness, the quiet confidence that what is unseen will inevitably take form. To be still is not to be passive, nor is it to do nothing. It is to rest in the unwavering belief that what you have asked for is already yours. The mind that is restless, constantly searching, doubting, and seeking reassurance reveals a lack of faith. But the one who is still, who moves without urgency, who does not look for signs but simply knows, is the one who truly believes. Stillness is the language of certainty, the silent declaration that there is nothing to fear, nothing to question, nothing to chase, because all that is needed already exists. The world often teaches that faith requires effort, that you must strive, struggle, and prove yourself worthy of what you seek. But true faith does not operate through force. It operates through alignment. When you believe in the reality of your desires, you do not push against the world to make them happen. You rest in the knowing that they are already unfolding. This stillness is not laziness, nor is it complacency. It is the highest form of trust, a deep inner assurance that does not waver in the face of doubt or delay. Those who possess this stillness understand that their desires are not dependent on external conditions, but on the inner conviction they hold. Fear and doubt express themselves through restlessness. A person who doubts paces back and forth, seeks constant validation, and reacts impulsively to every appearance of delay or difficulty. They speak of faith, but their actions betray their disbelief. They look for signs, hoping to be convinced that their desires will come to pass. But one who truly believes does not search for proof, because they already know. Their faith is quiet, steady, unmoving. They do not need to ask repeatedly, for they understand that asking again and again only reinforces the belief that they have not yet received. Instead, they remain still, allowing what is theirs to come in its appointed time. Stillness is the highest expression of faith because it demonstrates complete surrender. It is the absence of resistance, the refusal to struggle against the natural flow of creation. The moment you stop trying to control every detail, the moment you let go of the need to know how or when, you create space for the unseen to work on your behalf. This is where the power of silence becomes evident. When you no longer feel the need to explain, justify, or defend what you believe because you have already accepted it as true. Those who walk in this understanding do not beg, plead, or bargain. They simply assume. And in their assumption they receive. Many believe that faith must be loud, that it must be proclaimed and repeated for it to be effective. But the greatest faith is quiet, calm, and deeply rooted. It does not shout for attention or demand to be noticed. It moves in stillness, unseen yet unstoppable. This is why those who have mastered faith do not announce their intentions to the world. They do not seek approval or permission. They do not worry about how things appear in the present moment. Instead, they hold their vision in silence, knowing that reality will eventually reflect what they have already accepted in their hearts. Stillness is the mark of a mind that has transcended fear. It does not react to every challenge, nor does it seek immediate gratification. It understands that everything unfolds in perfect timing, and that impatience only delays what is already in motion. When you learn to be still, to rest in the certainty of your unseen reality, you free yourself from the need to control outcomes. You no longer fight against circumstances because you know that circumstances are temporary, but the truth you hold within is eternal. This is the secret that separates those who struggle from those who receive effortlessly. One is bound by doubt, the other is liberated by faith. The act of stillness is not easy for the restless mind, but it is necessary for those who wish to create lasting change. The world will always tempt you to react, to worry, to fixate on appearances. But if you allow yourself to be swayed by external conditions, you reveal that your faith is weak. True faith does not shift with circumstances. It remains unshaken no matter what the senses perceive. This is why stillness is so powerful. It is the ultimate test of belief. Can you remain unmoved in the face of delay? Can you trust so deeply that you no longer need evidence? Can you be still and know beyond all doubt that what you have asked for is already yours? Those who understand faith do not rush, they do not force, and they do not fear. They walk with an inner calm, knowing that the seed they have planted in their consciousness will bear fruit in its time. They do not worry when nothing seems to be happening, because they understand that the invisible is always at work. They live in a state of quiet expectation, their stillness a testament to the power they possess, and in this stillness everything they desire is drawn to them not through struggle, but through the unwavering certainty that it has already been done. When the noise of the world fades, when the mind is no longer consumed by the distractions of daily life, a deeper voice begins to speak. This voice does not shout, nor does it demand attention. It is soft yet powerful, gentle yet undeniable. It is the voice of God, and it speaks in the silence. Many search for answers outside of themselves, hoping to hear divine wisdom in the chaos of the world. Yet they do not realize that true revelation does not come through external noise, but through inner stillness. The reason so many struggle to hear God is not because he is silent, but because they have not quieted themselves enough to listen. The mind is constantly filled with thoughts, worries, and desires, all competing for attention. People pray, but they do not wait to receive. They ask, but they do not listen. They seek, but they do not remain still long enough to recognize the guidance that is always present. God does not force his voice upon anyone. He does not compete with the clamor of the world. Instead, he waits for those who are willing to enter the silence, to step away from the endless movement of life and simply be. In this sacred stillness, clarity emerges, and the answers that seem distant become undeniably clear. There is a reason why so many spiritual teachings emphasize solitude, meditation, and retreat. It is not that God cannot be heard in the midst of life's activities, but that the mind, when burdened by constant distractions, cannot perceive his voice. The divine speaks in moments of surrender, in the spaces where human effort ceases and divine wisdom takes over. Those who learn to embrace silence come to understand that they are never without guidance, never without direction, because God is always communicating. It is only a matter of whether one is willing to listen. Silence is not emptiness. It is not the absence of thought or presence. It is the space where true communion takes place, where the deepest truths are revealed. In the silence, the illusions of the world fade away, and what remains is pure awareness, untainted by fear or doubt. This is where divine wisdom is imparted, not through loud proclamations, not through external signs alone, but through an inner knowing that is beyond words. When one is still, when the mind ceases its restless search, God's voice is heard with absolute clarity, not as something separate, but as the very essence of one's being. People often wonder why they do not receive answers to their prayers, why they feel disconnected from God despite their efforts to reach him. The reason is simple: they are too busy talking to hear him. Prayer is not just speaking, it is listening. It is the willingness to enter the stillness and allow divine truth to unfold. Those who pray and immediately return to their worries have not truly prayed. Those who ask but do not expect to receive have not truly believed. The power of silence is that it removes all resistance, all doubt, all fear, and allows the presence of God to be fully known. It is in silence that faith is strengthened. It is easy to claim belief when surrounded by external affirmations, but true faith is tested in the quiet moments when there is no visible proof, no immediate confirmation, The one who trusts in God does not need signs and wonders to believe. They do not seek reassurance from the outside world. They simply know, and this knowing is cultivated in silence, where distractions cannot reach, where the soul is laid bare before God. The person who learns to be still discovers that they are never alone, never without answers, because God is always there, speaking in the quiet spaces of the heart. The greatest revelations come not in times of noise and striving, but in the moments of surrender. When the mind ceases its endless questioning, when one stops trying to force understanding, wisdom flows effortlessly. This is why those who seek truth must learn to love silence, to embrace it, not as emptiness, but as fullness. In silence, the mysteries of life are unraveled. In silence, the burdens of the mind are lifted. In silence, the soul recognizes its divine nature and remembers that it has never been separate from God. God's voice does not need to be sought outside, for it has always been within. It is the voice that reassures in times of uncertainty, that guides when the path is unclear, that comforts when all else fails. But to hear it, one must be willing to step away from the distractions of the world and enter the sacred space of stillness. The world will always demand attention, always pull in 1,000 directions. But those who make silence a practice, who learn to rest in the presence of God, will find that they are never without guidance, never without peace, and never without the voice of God speaking within them.